Hello, I'm Mark Nanaman. I wanted to do a quick video on the Lambda expression for OData filters in Power Automate. This is a function that I just recently learned about and started playing around with, and it's so useful. I can think of many solutions in the past where it would have helped me out a lot. Basically, what the Lambda expression in your OData filters allows you to do is it allows you to filter on related tables in Dataverse or other data sources. And it can even help you filter easily on relationships that are end-to-end. And that's very useful. So like when you've got a table where any number of those records can be related to any number of records in another table, you can easily filter on that in your OData filter line in Power Automate using a Lambda expression. It's also useful for filtering on certain data sources that return a nested table. For example, your Outlook contacts. When you get contacts using the Outlook connector, the email addresses for each contact are actually in a nested table. So there's no straightforward way to filter on an email address in your get contacts action using standard OData filters. But if you use the Lambda expression, you can filter on that nested table of email addresses for each contact. So we'll hop in, and before we get started, let's just take a look at some of the official documentation. So if you go to Microsoft Learn, Power Platform, Power Apps, Dataverse, there's a section on filtering rows using OData, and they do have a little section on the Lambda expressions. So it gives you a couple examples. Now, these examples here are for using a API endpoint, but they still will work in your Power Automate flows. And that page also links to the odata.orgs, and they have a section here on the Lambda operators with some other examples. So for the first example, let's look at this get contacts v2 action with the Outlook connector. I'll just take a peek at what an example of the return data looks like. And here is where the email address is stored. It's stored in this nested collection, this nested array called email addresses. And each one has a name and an address. So here I'm looking at johndoe@email.com. So how did I get just John Doe? Well, I'll show you. So we look here at the OData filter. So using the Lambda, what I do is you take the name of either the relationship or the nested table, and you put that first. So in this case, it's email addresses. Then we do a /, and then we do this Lambda operator. And we've got two choices. We can do any or we can do all. You know, it means what it sounds like. So any, we're looking for any record where the expression is going to return a true. If we do all, we're looking for records where every nested item that we're checking is true. In this situation, any is appropriate because we want to get the contacts where any of their nested emails equal the email we're searching for. And so I do any, and then we have parentheses after any. So any parentheses. And then we name our variable. It's sort of a variable. Here I've got it named as email. Now, generally, when you look at documentation on this, people use one letter. I just typed in email to see if it would work with longer strings, and it does. So I'll go ahead and do this the way it's normally done. So normally people just use one letter, and it's usually the first letter of this or something representing what you're searching. So since we're searching email, we'll just use E. So we do E, and then we do colon. And then since we're looking for the address property of each email address item, remember those email address items had a name and they had an address column inside of it. So we do /address because we want to search for where the address equals our email address. And then we put the space EQ, just like normally in OData. And then in single quotes, we put what we're searching for. I have my email for filter up here in a compose. So that's what I'm dropping down in there, just johndoe@email.com. But I could go ahead and rewrite this, just type it straight in here. And there we go. We have got a Lambda OData filter. And it has run, and just like we saw before, it returns this one contact who has john.doe@email.com. Display name is John Doe. Another thing we can do in Dataverse, let's say we want to search for accounts that have certain contact names as their child contacts. Well, we can do that as well using the Lambda expressions. So here I've got a list rows, and I'm listing my Dataverse accounts table. I want to return the accounts that have child contacts with a certain last name, let's say. To get started on doing this, we need to find the name of the relationship between contacts and accounts. You can find the name of this relationship in your make.powerapps.com. You just go to your tables, go to account, or you could go to contacts, and then you look for the relationship that you're looking for. So here I've got 3 different relationships between accounts and contacts. The one I'm looking for is going to be this one right here. It's the one that's called company name on the contact side. And that's a one-to-N relationship, one-to-many. So we've got, it's called contact_customer_accounts. We can see that right there under the name. If we click on it as well, we can see that name here. We might be able to copy it as well. So back in our flow, to start our Lambda, we paste that name, contact customer accounts, we put a / and we'll do any. And then I'm going to call it C : C for contact, and we'll put C. Actually, let's do this. Let's do contains. We'll do a contains operator. So we do contains, another parentheses, and then we're going to put C/ last name, and then we'll do a comma, and then here we'll put what word we're filtering on, and I'll do Harkonnen, since I have a bunch of sample data from TV shows and movies. All right, and then we close that off with 2 parentheses, one parentheses for the contains function, another parentheses for the any function, the Lambda function. And then down here, I'm just going to select from each of these accounts we pull, I'm just going to pull in the name of the account. So let's go ahead and test this. And it returned House Harkonnen. So it did find the account that had child contacts with the last name of Harkonnen. We can also do other kinds of filters using the Lambda expression. For example, I've got cities and states in my developer environment, and the cities have a population column, which is a number column, and then each city is linked to a United States state. So let's say I wanted to pull a list of states that have cities with a certain population size. So for example, I want to pull a list of states where the state has a child city with over 1 million people, 1 million or more. I can do that using the Lambda expression. So what I do is I start over here with the name of the relationship between city and state, which is this right here, MLN_city_MLN_state. Then I put / any, and I use C for city, C/MLN population. That's the logical name of the population column. And then I do a space, and then GE for greater than, and then I just type in 1 million, closing parentheses. All right, well, the flow has run. If we check the outputs of our select down here, which will just pull in the name and the abbreviation of the state, we see that we have Arizona, Pennsylvania, Texas, New York, California, and Illinois as the states that have a city with 1 million or more population. And last but not least, let's take a look at how to use the Lambda expression to filter by many-to-many relationships, end-to-end. So here, for an example, I'm going to list my users, my system users table in Dataverse, And I'm going to look for all the users who have a security role of system administrator. All we got to do is put the logical name of that relationship at the front. And in this case, if we can go look this up in make.powerapps.com as well, but it's called system user roles underscore association. Then I do the /. We do the any operator again. And then I put R for role, :r/name equals, and then I put system administrator inside of single quotes. Then I close off the parentheses for that any function. Additionally, I have this and then the address 1, telephone number 1, not equal to null. And that's just in there to filter out non-human users because there are app users and other types of users in this list. All right, our flow has run. Let's take a look at the outputs. And it has returned me because I'm the one human user in my developer environment with system administrator. Well, there you have it. That is a quick demonstration of using the Lambda expression in OData filters in Power Automate. It's a very helpful feature, especially for filtering your Dataverse by many-to-many relationships. It has other applications as well. If the video was helpful to you, please give it a like, subscribe. You can check out the blog post in the description below. And feel free to leave a comment with suggestions for other topics I could look into on this channel. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.